sink trap, so. But the sink trap is only foot, you know.
The Anglican church there, totally demolished. It's gone, down.
It began as a swirling mass of thunderstorms deep in the Caribbean, but within days it became one of the most powerful hurricanes ever recorded in the Atlantic Basin. Hurricane Melissa, a name that Jamaicans will never forget, slammed into the island as a Category 5 monster, bringing catastrophic winds, torrential rain, and a storm surge that swallowed entire coastal communities. Today we'll take a closer look at what really happened, how the storm formed, where it hit hardest, and how people across Jamaica and the wider Caribbean are now facing the painful aftermath of this once-in-a-century disaster. Hurricane Melissa made landfall in southwestern Jamaica near the town of New Hope, late on October 28, 2025. At that moment, it was packing sustained winds of around 180 miles per hour, or roughly 295 kilometers per hour, putting it firmly in the upper range of Category 5 intensity. Meteorologists had been tracking the storm for several days as it rapidly intensified over unusually warm Caribbean waters. Within less than 36 hours, it transformed from a tropical storm into one of the most violent hurricanes ever to hit Jamaica. The National Hurricane Center described Melissa as extremely dangerous, warning of catastrophic wind damage, flash floods, and life-threatening storm surge. Unfortunately, those predictions came true. When Melissa's eye wall moved ashore, the fury was immediate. Roofs were torn from homes, trees were uprooted like twigs, and power poles snapped in half. Residents described hearing what sounded like a roaring freight train, a deep, endless rumble that grew louder as the winds peaked. By nightfall, large parts of the island were plunged into darkness. Communication networks failed. For many, the only sounds left were howling winds and the crash of waves tearing through coastal villages. The scale of destruction across Jamaica is difficult to overstate. Authorities have confirmed at least 3 deaths so far, though that number may rise as rescue teams reach isolated areas. Entire neighborhoods in Kingston, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, and Clarendon reported severe flooding. Streets turned into rivers, cars floated away, and homes built on lower ground were quickly submerged. Hospitals in several parishes suffered damage, forcing doctors and nurses to move patients to upper floors as water levels rose. In some areas, emergency generators ran out of fuel, leaving medical staff to work by flashlight. The island's main power grid collapsed under the storm's force, leaving nearly the entire country without electricity. The Jamaica Public Service Company said it could take weeks to restore power to all customers, as transmission lines and substations suffered extensive damage. In the capital, Kingston, floodwaters surged through downtown streets while landslides cut off major highways connecting the city to the island's interior. One resident, speaking to a local radio station, said, "It was like the end of the world. The wind was screaming. You could feel the house shaking. We just prayed it wouldn't fall apart." Jamaica wasn't the only country in Melissa's path. The storm's outer bands also battered Haiti and the Dominican Republic, where at least 4 more people were killed by flooding and falling debris. Second, low wind shear in the atmosphere allowed Melissa's towering storm clouds to grow vertically and symmetrically, leading to a tightly organized eye and extremely strong winds. In Haiti, already struggling with fragile infrastructure, swollen rivers burst their banks, forcing hundreds from their homes. In the Dominican Republic, heavy rainfall triggered flash floods in the southern provinces, damaging roads and bridges. After tearing through Jamaica, Hurricane Melissa continued moving northwest toward eastern Cuba, still a formidable Category 4 storm. Cuban authorities responded swiftly, ordering mass evacuations in coastal provinces, including Santiago de Cuba, Guantanamo, and Granma. More than 200,000 people were moved to shelters or safer buildings as winds intensified and seas began to rise.
respect for you give them, guys.
Forecasters warned of 10 to 20 inches of rainfall, or up to 500 millimeters across mountainous terrain, enough to cause deadly flash floods and landslides. Melissa's next threat zone includes parts of the Bahamas, which are now under hurricane watches and warnings. The storm is expected to bring strong winds, heavy rain, and life-threatening surf conditions as it moves through the region. What made Hurricane Melissa so powerful? Meteorologists say the answer lies in a combination of factors. First, sea surface temperatures in the Caribbean this year have been exceptionally warm, providing the perfect fuel for tropical systems. The World Meteorological Organization has called Melissa the strongest storm to strike Jamaica in modern history, surpassing even Hurricane Gilbert in 1988. Experts are also studying Melissa as another case of rapid intensification, when a hurricane's wind speed increases by at least 35 miles per hour within 24 hours. This phenomenon, once considered rare, has become increasingly common in recent years, posing huge challenges for forecasting and preparedness. In the aftermath, images from Jamaica paint a heartbreaking picture. Streets littered with debris, roofs twisted like paper, and families standing in ankle-deep mud searching for what's left of their homes. Yet, amid the devastation, stories of courage and community are emerging. In the parish of St. Elizabeth, volunteers formed human chains to rescue trapped neighbors from rising floodwaters. In Kingston, a group of young people used kayaks to deliver food and water to stranded residents. And across the island, churches, schools, and community centers have opened their doors as shelters for those who lost everything. Prime Minister Andrew Holness addressed the nation shortly after the storm, describing Melissa as a national tragedy but also a test of our strength. He urged Jamaicans to remain united, promising government assistance and international aid to rebuild the hardest-hit areas. International support is already on the way. The Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency has deployed response teams, while UN agencies and neighboring countries are coordinating deliveries of food, water, and medical supplies. Even as the winds die down, danger remains. Floodwaters continue to rise in some regions, and authorities warn of contaminated water, power outages, and blocked roads hampering relief efforts. Engineers are assessing the stability of bridges and utility networks, while search and rescue teams move through isolated rural areas where communications were lost during the storm. Thousands of homes have been destroyed, agriculture has suffered massive losses, and businesses are struggling to reopen. In many places, access to clean drinking water is limited. Meteorologists caution that Melissa's remnants could continue to bring heavy rain even after leaving Jamaica and Cuba behind, meaning additional flooding remains possible in nearby regions. Hurricane Melissa will likely be remembered not only for its record-breaking strength, but also for its impact on disaster preparedness across the Caribbean. Authorities across the region are emphasizing the need for stronger infrastructure, better evacuation planning, and improved communication systems. The lessons from Melissa, much like those from Hurricanes Gilbert, Ivan, and Dorian, highlight how quickly storms can escalate and how crucial early action is. For many Jamaicans, though, this disaster has also reaffirmed a deeper truth, that resilience is not just about rebuilding structures, but about rebuilding lives and communities together. As the Caribbean begins the long process of recovery, one thing is certain. Hurricane Melissa has changed lives forever. It tested the strength of families, communities, and nations. Thank you for watching.